I saw the city passing by my window. Was in the crowd, but I felt so alone. Looked at my phone like every other second. My future was blurry and numb, a tunnel where there's no light. Oh, but then you came and sat right next to me. Your eyes, they glowed and filled me up. We had never met before that time, but I just knew that we'd end up. You took it, you took it, took away my loneliness. Oh, I know it, I know it. You're making me wholehearted. Together, together, together it's always better. I don't want to be parted. You're making me wholehearted. You're making me wholehearted. We jumped off the subway leading nowhere. Your warm hands rubbed off the cold around me. I heard you say that everything is alright, but how did you know how I felt? You saw right through me that day. I was lost in space, but you pulled me down and wiped away those cloudy thoughts. I could see the sky when you were close to me. I can't believe what you brought. You took it, you took it, took away my loneliness. Oh, I know it, I know it. You're making me whole.
Oh, hi. Welcome to the Q&A session for Nevada B Drama and Comedy. My name is Svetlana Stefanova, and I'm the executive director of the 17th Annual Damn Short Film Festival. And we have a number of filmmakers here today. If we can get everyone up on the screen, and we'll have you guys introduce yourselves. Yay, hi. We got a lot of them for this program. This is Nevada, so everybody's here to represent. We will just go from in a big circle. We'll start from Eric West and go around. So Eric, just introduce yourself and the project that you worked on and what your role for the film was.
All right, my name is Eric West. I did The Bathroom Wall, wrote and directed it, and I actually starred in this one too. I don't usually do that. But.
That's awesome. And who do we have next?
Hi, I'm Chris Kernock, and my film is Bizarro e Fantastico, and I wrote, directed, produced, and shot it.
That's awesome. Who's next?
Hello, I'm Isabella Hicks, and I shot Loteria. I'm the director and writer.
Awesome. Who else do we have?
Hello, I'm Jerry Thompson. And Mike Thompson. We did sort of the short film. We both wore many hats. Co-directed it. Mike wrote it. I did the visual effects.
Awesome. Who's next?
Hey, it's Jason Harris. So Close and Still is my movie. I wrote it, directed it, produced it, acted in it. And the Thompson brothers, those modest gentlemen, were my editors, cinematographers, entire tech crew.
Awesome. Well, let's go around and talk about the inspiration behind each of your films. Eric, we'll start with you.
Mine's called The Bathroom Wall, about someone who finds a number on the bathroom wall and kind of gets obsessed with calling it. I got inspired from seeing one on a bathroom wall once, and I started thinking of that song, the Ginny song, and I started to try to write a little story that had something to do with it. And it came together pretty quick. It's kind of old. I sat on it for a little bit till the timing was right. And during the COVID thing, it seemed to work pretty well. Small cast and stuff.
Awesome. And I forget who's next, but let's go. Oh, Chris.
So my film Bizarro e Fantastico, was shot in Paris and Rome, and I basically was looking for an opportunity to go to my favorite places and talk about my favorite thing, which is death and dying. I tend to be a little preoccupied with the idea of dying, and I just joined those two things together. And I was there. I was in Rome for like a business thing for another film I was working on, and I thought, why not just forget my clothes, just put everything in a suitcase, and see if I could make a movie. And if it's no good, I just won't show anybody. And it turned out better than expected, and it was a very special experience. And I got shot it in two other languages that I didn't speak, and so it was a really wild, crazy journey. And the inspiration, though, was those great cities and my kind of unhealthy fascination with death.
Awesome. And Isabella.
Hi. So my film Loteria is actually based or inspired by a board game of the same name that's kind of like a Mexican version of bingo. So the film is about like taking the images of that game and kind of creating like a surrealistic world where destiny deals these cards, which would be the bingo cards that have the characters on them, and they kind of turn into sort of like tarot cards. And instead of just being on the cards, they end up personifying in front of my main character. And each of these cards represents a moment in his life that he has to confront. So he falls in love. He has to fight for what he believes in. He experiences joy. He has this fear of the devil taking over his life. And then in the end, he comes to terms with death as well. So yeah.
Awesome. How about Jerry and Mike?
Sort of. It's not a political short, but it was kind of created in the middle of the, worst political time during this last year, where you're kind of arguing with your loved ones a lot, and it seems like you're speaking two languages almost. So it's kind of a comical and fun adventure about two people. It's kind of like passion versus logic. They're kind of personified by the two characters, and they get into an adventure, and they argue a lot. But it's just for, and it was a great opportunity. Jerry he's been doing a lot of animation and special effects, and during the bubble time, so he's been doing special effects on it.
Great.
So, yeah, it's a quasi-political thing with dragons and fireballs and bats. That's the succinct switch.
It's awesome. Jason.
Yeah, mine's a romantic comedy with dragons and fireballs and bats. That's not true at all. I wanted to do a romantic comedy set in this world that we are still living in right now, with all of the kind of parameters, without giving too much away. And I kind of came up with the story of how to do that and then worked backwards. And I wanted it to have a very like mid 90s, late 80s rom-com-y feel, which I got to give a lot of credit to Dave Rosen, who scored it to kind of get that there. So it's kind of a nostalgic rom-com set in the most current of situations.
Awesome. Do we have any questions from the audience yet? Got a live chat going. All right. This question's for Eric. Can we get that
from your star?
Actually, I read rather slow. So was it important to you that your film have nothing to do with the pandemic? Did you know about the pandemic before? Are you clairvoyant? And
no, I had an idea for something, and I decided to kind of scrap it until the pandemic's over, because I figured there might be an overabundance of pandemic movies. So
we'll probably be receiving a lot of those for next year. I'm sure. Like, we're going to be watching a lot of pandemic themed movies. So.
Yeah, they're already on like Amazon and HBO. They're already happening. So yeah.
What the heck, dude? I'm the one who made the pandemic rom-com here. Can we lay off a little, guys?
There's nothing wrong if it's done well. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Let's do the next question. Another one for Eric.
Yeah,
Where did
there's
you
almost
get
sure for blowing it up.
Where did you get the inspiration for your film?
We already talked about that one. You got to click on earlier, Lex.
Eric's cast is asking him all the questions. I smell a
Yeah.
setup here.
Let's go to the next question. Let's see. One not for Eric West, please.
They're being funny. Yeah.
Oh, that's the last one we have right now. All right. Well, I have.
All right.
Cool. Does Eric's cast have any questions for any other?
Let's be honest, they haven't watched any of the other movies yet.
I know it's early on. It's early on. It went live at midnight last night, so you've got plenty of time to watch all the films. And just to remind everyone, all these films, we have over 160 international short films and music videos. They're streaming on demand at damnshortfilm.org, and it's $12 per program. There's anywhere from 3 to 15 films in a program, and then you get to vote on the films. We have audience awards, so you get to rate each film after you've watched the program. So make sure to vote for your favorite films. You can get a household pass for $100 to all 26 programs, and you have basically 5 days to watch all those films. And as soon as you hit watch now, anytime before 11:59 on Monday, February 15th, you'll have 5 days to finish those films. So a little pro tip, if you have a household pass and you haven't finished watching all the programs, on that last day, if you hit watch now and open up those films, you'll have 5 full days to finish it. So you can actually extend your viewing experience over 10 days if you're smart about it. But I have a question. I'll start with Chris. What was your favorite part about working on this project?
Oh man, probably the food. I got to eat a lot of food that was good, and I enjoyed that part of it. And being there, being in these places that I really enjoy, spending time and having the opportunity to work there. Which was really exciting, in the different cultures and the insanity of that. And so it was really just the intensity of the project, and then getting to enjoy those locations. And the collaboration with everybody. It's kind of a miracle that the movie even happened. And so everyone's dedication and trying to communicate, and a lot of people, they didn't really speak English well. So I was doing a lot of Mel Gibson directing, where I was like acting out everything with a bullhorn. I wasn't doing that. I was kidding. But just the collaboration and the spirit and the atmosphere, and it was just like a really crazy experience and a really beautiful one. So I know that's kind of a cheeseball answer, kind of everything, but the experience was really the best part.
Awesome. Isabella, same question.
Wait, sorry, could you repeat what the question was?
Sure, yeah. What was your favorite part about working on this particular project?
I think, gosh, I loved so many parts of it. I think what was really cool is we got to go to a really amazing location. So we shot our film in these giant sand dunes in the middle of San Diego. And that was pretty crazy. It was I was making a surrealist film, but being in these sand dunes and having them surrounding all of us the whole time that we were shooting there, it just felt like we were completely transported into another environment, which is exactly what's supposed to happen in the film. So it really helped, I think, everyone get into the groove of things. And I don't know, just being in such an interesting and environment that I've never seen before, and none of us had ever seen before, I think was really fun for all of us. One of my favorite parts.
Awesome. Jerry and Mike, what was your favorite part about working on this project?
We have a dad with a magnificent white wizard beard. We actually used him in a music video for Svet, and we killed him in that music video. Yeah, we killed him in your music video, and then we killed him again in this movie. So,
you guys really want to kill your dad?
No, I love my dad, but it's fun to make him a wizard and then have him die.
That's cool.
We bubbled up, so it was like just our closest friends and family. doing this one, which was actually pretty fun. Small
Awesome.
crew.
Jason, what was your favorite part?
I agree with Mike on ours. We had literally, they were the crew, those two guys right there. And it was, because we shot during the pandemic, it was really about how to simplify everything and tell the best story. And I got to also give just a ton of credit to my co-star, Brianne Janae, who's a very, very amazing actress in town and was so much fun to act with in this thing.
Awesome. It sounds like we have a question for Isabella. Let's see. Perfect. Isabella, what obstacles have you faced as a female filmmaker?
Interestingly enough, I think since I was able, I just graduated from film school. And being there, I mean, it was such an environment of like anyone can tell their stories and everyone can like, you know, put their foot in and everyone has a voice and everything, which was really awesome. So I've had a really great experience as a female filmmaker so far. But then there obviously are obstacles like I think without trying to like, you know, step on anything or step on anyone's toes or anything, sometimes what can happen that I've noticed in the environment that I've been in is the females who present their ideas, they get a lot more questions about but why and but how than the male directors would get. For example, like when they're creating their stories or when they're sharing they're pitching their ideas and everything, there's a lot more questioning with the women than there is with the men. And for me, making a surrealist film that was more of a film poem than like a 3-act structure kind of film, I received a lot of, you know, I'm not sure if that's going to work, or maybe you should try and make something that is a little bit more linear, while all the guy directors were, you know, doing kind of the same thing. And it was like, why just me? Why should I have to be the one that like changes and everything? So yeah, I think that in terms of obstacles, it kind of comes with just, there's a lot more questioning, I think, of a woman's idea as opposed to a man's idea. So yeah.
Definitely, I can relate to that. Let's see, we have another question for Jerry, Mike and Jerry. Did you encounter any problems while filming?
Well, filming it was pretty chill, but Jerry had a lot of post problems.
Yeah, every single. I don't know. It's a very short movie. It's a 2.5-minute movie with a 1-minute dance party credit sequence. So the whole thing is very short. But there's a lot jammed in the 2.5 minutes. Every single shot is a really long take with an elaborate visual effect, most of which I didn't know how to do when we started, which was kind of the point for me. I wanted to figure it out, but then you realize that, you know, there are a lot of things. A lot of the effects were hard. There's a sword that I was hoping I could just like do a simple effect to, but I had to rotoscope every single frame of it. So just that took like 5 days. And that wasn't even an effect that I thought was going to be that hard, but I spent 5 days just tracing and frame by framing this sword prop. So it looks cool and it's worth it and whatever. At the end of 5 days, you're 5 days closer to dying no matter what you do with it, and we have a cool sword movie now. So it's fine, and I got real good at it, but it was annoying. So
if you need some rotoscope, don't call Jerry though, because he's tired of it. But he is good at it.
Yeah. So I mean, it was fun though. But I mean, that was the whole point of the movie, was to learn how to do things I didn't know how to do, but I didn't know how to do any of them. So the whole movie was one big challenge, honestly.
Awesome. I think we have a question for Chris.
Yes. Did I learn anything new filming this project? Yes, I learned everything over again. Every movie is starting from scratch, essentially. You can bring experience and textbook knowledge and theory to things, but the more sophisticated the projects become and the more complicated they become, or more ambitious that I try to be, yeah, I learned so much. I learned a lot in the post-production phase. My editor and I, Brian Paulson, we worked just like two guys. That was really the pandemic part, because I had shot the film in October of the previous year, and we edited for about 9 months. and we did like the work of 40 people, just 2 guys, and there was a lot of rotoscoping and all that. I mean, so I learned a lot from a technical post side of things that I hadn't had hands-on experience. And it was the process of filming was really it was really informative, because I was able to put a lot of things that were only in theory into practice. And so there was definitely like a baptism by fire quality about it. And so, yeah, I mean, every day and every minute of the movie, I felt like it made me a better filmmaker. So, yeah, without a doubt.
That's awesome. I think we have another question. Isabella, what was the biggest challenge you faced during the production of your film?
During the production, I feel like most of our challenges came like in the beginning before production happened. But I guess just being also kind of in this environment, in this desert environment, where we did as much pre-production work as we could to get ready to be there, but it was kind of challenging knowing how to work with like light sometimes. I don't know. I feel like our biggest obstacle was probably making sure that all the equipment that the school was letting us borrow stayed clean so that we didn't have to pay fines for ruining anything after. But in terms of actually getting to make the film, I mean, I just remember it going, like, just being amazing and being really fun. So I think our equipment stuff was our biggest obstacle during production.
I can see that being hard to deal with. Let's see, do we have another question?
So Chris,
I can read it for you. I guess that's my job, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. I want to do
with the lengthy black screen have had a different effect in a theater showing as opposed to virtual viewing?
Okay, good. That's a great question. So for those of you who haven't seen the movie, we're going to ruin it for you right now, which is that there's a minute-long black sequence in the film that is supposed to be nothing, that you're supposed to experience and hopefully are comforted by or terrified by or have whatever experience you want. So that's what the question is referring to. And I think, yeah, definitely. You know, the thing is that, you know, I knew going in that this movie would be viewed predominantly on phones. And it's kind of a horrible thing to tell everyone, watch it on a big screen, because you sound like one of those guys. I don't want to sound like Christopher Nolan. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have an ascot yet, and I'm close, but it's coming. But I haven't got there yet. And so I knew it was going to be watched on phones. And yes, you know, it sounds like a cliche, but I want the film to be viewed on a big screen in a theater with people. But any way that people find it and watch it is fine. I do think that having the communal experience of the cinema and not being able to turn it off and not being able to skip it and not being able to go and get a snack in the next room would have a profound difference. And so, yeah, many parts of the film in its pace is purposefully more subdued. And there's even an opening sequence that is intended to kind of get you into the atmosphere of the film, to kind of enter you into the world of the movie. So I hope that translates into a smaller screen or over a digital platform of some sort. But I definitely think that classical experience in the cinema with other people would be profoundly different.
Definitely. Do we have any more questions from the audience? All right, this one's for Jason from Danette. Can we get that question back up, please? Okay. Was your film based on a true story?
Oh, hi, Danette. Thank you for the question. No, if it was based on a true story, it would have been a crash and burn pandemic romance with a truly horrible ending, but that's for another film, maybe.
All right. Do we have any other questions? Isabella, what was your process with your editor balancing the two environments between the dunes and Destinos? Is that Destinos? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, Destino is the main character. So yeah, it was interesting because we have one character who's supposed to be in this nowhere space. She's just like in this darkness, and then all the action is happening where the sand dunes are. I was so lucky that I wrote my script for this film like my first year of school, and I met my editor that year, and this was my thesis film, so like then 2 years later I get to make it. But from the minute that I showed it to her, she was always like, yes, I love this, I want to do it, let's get together and then make it. And when she gave me the first cut of the film, it was exactly what I had pictured. It was amazing. So I was really lucky in that she really understood my vision. And she just knew when to cut back and forth. Because again, this doesn't have like, my film doesn't have a typical structure. There isn't like a marked points where things kind of like start and end. So kind of finding a rhythm and a balance and a flow between, okay, when is she going to pull the next card, and when is the new character going to come out, and then that character is going to leave, and then we're going to see the dark space, and kind of goes like back and forth a lot. But I think that she really just got it, and I think that was the most important part in my process with my editor, is having someone who understood my story and understood my vision. So yeah.
Well, I'd like to ask a question myself to everyone. How has the pandemic affected your filmmaking? We'll start with Eric.
Sorry. Yeah, it's kind of put a dampering on things, just kind of having to hold off. We had a whole scene that was supposed to be done in a baseball stadium. We were just going to go shoot at the baseball stadium, and that got scrapped, and just lots of little things like that. I don't even think about that stuff now, but it's like, oh yeah, we had to alter and change. And even the stuff that, like, we shot some stuff the other day, and we're still having to deal with it or to adjust for it. Even minor stuff like having to run back to grab the mask. You know.
Yes. Chris, how about you?
Well, I mean, it virtually hasn't affected the filmmaking at all because I happen to be. I always work with an extremely small crew and a very intimate group of people in post anyway. So really, it hasn't really impacted my filmmaking. I'm writing more projects now that are going to be shot this year, so I probably will run into problems in terms of just following COVID safety measures and things of that nature, but I haven't really had that experience. But I will say very briefly that I think COVID in general has had an effect on the film, which is that it was shot in October of 2019. So this was before any of this really happened, and it kind of ended up being prophetic in a way because toward the end of the film, there's the kind of a Grim Reaper cloaked character that's kind of wandering through the streets of an empty Rome, and then now, of course, we know that Italy was hit so hard, and that there's this kind of deathly quality. So that kind of by accident took on this new significance, which hasn't been lost on a lot of the audience members watching it, particularly the ones in Italy. So in a weird way, it affected the story more than it affected the process, and it kind of became a COVID movie, but just by virtue of accident.
Interesting. I'm going to go in just like a clockwise order here. Isabella, how has the pandemic affected your filmmaking?
Well, in terms of my film, the film Noteria here, I was lucky enough to finish that and get everything done before the pandemic hit. But in terms of how it affected the story, I mean, it's a story about you never know what's going to happen. Like, the fate could deal any card at any moment for you. And so when this happened, it was kind of like, oh yeah, that could also be in the cards, a pandemic, But in terms of like filmmaking right now, I mean, it's just so crazy having graduated from an environment where I'm like constantly making films and collaborating with people and having to just kind of be locked away and just trying to come up with ideas for when everything opens back up again. But yeah, it definitely has made me just very hungry to film, to make movies.
Jerry and Mike, same question.
Well, it's an interesting, sad contradiction with the pandemic, because it's like all of a sudden you find yourself with all this free time. but it also doesn't let you use the free time. Like, it's like, oh, cool, I'm gonna have all this time off. Maybe I'll go on that trip. No, you can't go on that trip. It's like, oh, we can make movies with all our friends because we're all off. But it's like you feel weird and guilty asking people to leave their house. So it's, it's been kind of a weird thing. We have, we do this for a living too, and resources aren't what they used to be. So it's like, on the one hand, it's like, let's take a lot of time and make passion projects. But on the other hand, we're spending money and we don't know when we'll make it again. So we have done a lot of writing. I have watched a lot of tutorial videos and stuff. I've learned things I didn't know how to do. And this movie was a lot of fun. So, we have lots of ideas. We're probably going to get moving on them now that this has dragged on so long.
Yeah, we had kind of bigger ideas that we probably would have done this year. But this film is pretty much a COVID kind of a film because we wanted to do something really short, fun, with a lot of special effects. So, this one got made because of it, so that's kind of nice. But,
the effects took a week straight for me to do once I started doing it. And I spent a month or two watching tutorial videos before I could even start on it. We used to actually make money and be successful at our jobs. And I would never have had a month to learn and then a week to work on a fun, dumb little 2.5-minute video that, So, in that way, it's been kind of a blessing. Although I do remember having money to buy things with. It is fun to have money to buy things with. Money's fun. People tell you it's not, but they're wrong.
It's distant memory nowadays.
Yeah.
Jason, same question.
I was just going to let Jerry continue his nervous breakdown over there. It was fun to watch. So, and might I join you, Jerry? Let's see. At the beginning of right before lockdown happened, we were on set at the Four Seasons and needed to reshoot a scene, and we were unable to. So that was the first effect of it. I was negotiating funding for a feature that takes place a lot in bars in Las Vegas. And I feel like I did the responsible thing. I told the investor, like, we got to just put all this stuff off, which is, heartbreaking, but we all go through it. So I've just pivoted. I've been writing a ton. I have a couple of features done, a couple of indies, a couple of mainstream things. And we have run a few sets during the pandemic. And that's been, eye-opening, and we all do our best to be careful. I actually just turned down an acting gig last week because it was shooting in a public space. And while the crew was able to kind of maintain COVID protocols, they couldn't, cover the whole space. So it's crazy. But this piece, So Close and Still, was made specifically for the pandemic. So hopefully we'll all just be like, shooting out of the cannon. Everyone in this group this year next year we'll have 5 Nevada film programs.
Yes. Chris, same question. Or no, Chris already answered this question, right?
Yeah, I had a technical difficulty and I left and I came back in a new square.
You just wanted to answer the question again. You want more screen time, don't you? I'm kidding. All right, I think we have another question from the audience. All right, we'll start with Eric. It was what filmmakers inspire you? Was that the question? Sorry.
Yeah. What filmmakers inspire you?
What filmmakers inspire you? Okay, we'll start with Eric and we'll do the same clockwise thing again.
Lots. I don't know. Starting way back, I don't know how far do you go. Scorsese's a mess. I don't know. I can think of I'm drawing a blank. There's a ton of them. Jeez. I lots.
All the filmmakers in this program, right? Yay.
Yeah. Everybody here does a great job.
All right, Isabella, do you have any that come to mind?
Sorry.
Oh, yes. For me, it's Julie Taymor and Guillermo del Toro. Those two are my big two. I just love their visual style so much. The color that they bring into their films. And Julie Taymor specifically, her storytelling style, that more surrealistic kind of things flow, and I don't know, it always feels like things continue and they never really end, and then they continue and they continue and they continue, and I just love that. And Guillermo del Toro is just, a master of all masters in my book. So I just think everything he does is amazing. Everything. So yeah.
Awesome. Jerry and Mike, how about you guys?
I don't want to speak for Mike. I love the Coen brothers a lot. I like Wes Anderson a lot.
Yeah, that's good.
Those are always two that jump right out at when I think about it. I like a lot of P.T. Anderson's movies. I don't love all of them, but the ones I love as much as I love anything. So,
yeah, agree. I just did a Wes Anderson kick where I just watched all of his films in a row this last week, actually. So I'm even more of a fan than I was last week.
I should do that. I watched Moonrise Kingdom like 3 times in a week when it first came out, and it made me want to make movies, and it made me want to quit forever.
Jason, how about you?
So everyone that everyone's named is great and and obviously inspirational. I would say I'm always I feel like I'm just trying to write Richard Linklater movies. Like that's, kind of my wheelhouse. So I think him right now. I also gravitate, if I was going to name a genre, like 90s indie movies. I just watched Metropolitan for the first time by Whit Stillman, which is an amazing movie. Just stuff like that. And, going back to Linklater Before Sunrise, stuff like that. This movie that just came out, and there's like a lot of great stuff out that you can find, even though we're not going to theaters. Watch The Climb. The Climb's like Jerry was just saying, I just watched that 2 times in 3 days because I was just so blown away by it. And that came out, it's just coming out on VOD. So there's plenty of them. And again, Jeanette, thank you for the question.
Chris, how about you?
Well, yeah, like everybody, a lot of different people and a lot of different things. But kind of with Bizarro specifically, a big part of the film was kind of a love letter to mid-century Italian and French films. So I'd say, to this film in particular, I'd say like a Fellini, Pasolini, Visconti type thing. And Ingmar Bergman, I mean, I have this kind of unhealthy thing about death, and I think that might have started with him me watching movies when I was like 7 years old and not understanding them and being horrified. But he never had death have diarrhea, which I'm proud to say that I beat Bergman to. And Kubrick, that's my thing, and I like his films. And I felt like if I had to really be super reductive about my film, I feel like it was like kind of a Bergman script that Woody Allen took a pass at, and I put it in a Fellini world, and I shot it like Kubrick. And thankfully, I don't think it's any of those things. But I think if those influences are kind of in my subconscious, that's kind of the souffle that is the film.
I think we have time for one more audience question. Do we have anything? All right. Isabella, what obstacles have you... Oh, we already had that one.
I'll take it.
Do we have anything else? Well, I have a question. Jace. Oh, we did.
Isabella, you take this one.
I'm going to ask you guys, what impact do you hope that your film has? Eric.
Well, I don't know. I hope people like it. It's a silly story. It's very fast. I kind of liked how I don't know if y'all have seen it, but I kind of liked how it just nosedives. Like it's there, and then it drops out, and then it's over. And that's kind of what I like, is just get it in, get a nice short film, very quick, good story, bounce.
Yeah. Isabella, what impact do you hope that your film has?
Well, one big thing that I was trying to do in my film is I really wanted to express the beauty of Mexican culture. And so I really hope that when people see it, it's like they get a taste of a side of Mexico and its culture that I feel like isn't represented that much in the shows that we see today. I mean, there's obviously like a lot of narco shows, and it feels like everything is narco, all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to bring something that was like a staple to Mexico, like imagery wise, the loteria is like, it's everywhere. And I wanted it to like be a story for those of us who grew up with that and who maybe like forgot about how magic it is, but also show people how magic and beautiful and colorful and creative Mexico is, which again is a side that I feel like is severely lacking in the film world today. Yeah.
Jerry and Mike.
I think it's supposed to just be fun. It's really short, and I think it's very respectful of the viewer's time in a way that I don't think we've ever perfected like maybe we did with this one. It's really short, really fast, visually interesting, I think, the whole time, as much as you can pack in. And then maybe a little bit of catharsis, like arguing with people you love and not feeling any better afterwards.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll. I mean, it doesn't have real lofty goals, although it's like a 2.5-minute philosophical conversation disguised as a bunch of jokes. But you know, the hope is that you smile for 2.5 minutes, and then you have a 60-second dance party in your chair, and then you watch it again, which a lot of people have done. Like we've sent it off to friends and clients and whatever, and lots of people have said, "I watched it 5 times," because it's short enough that you can, and it's so jam packed that, like, you know. There's never a part. Sometimes even on some of our movies, we'll make a movie and then I'll skip the first 3 minutes because it takes flight halfway through, and it's like I don't want to watch the first half. This one, there's nothing to skip. It starts with a meteor hitting the ground and then off you go. So I like it. It's real small. It's easy to just anyone can watch it.
No popcorn.
Yeah. Jason, how about you?
I'm really hoping it ends world hunger. That's not true. It's just a short comedy, and hopefully people smile and laugh. And again, like, the lesson is we all were able to work within the confines of a pandemic. So, you know, the limitations of what's out there, you can still create something. So I think that's pretty great that everyone did that.
Chris, how about you?
I want people to think about dying, obviously. I mean, not to sound overly pretentious about it, but I hope people think about questions that we all share, that they spend most of their time not thinking about, and they put a lot of effort in not thinking about, and then I make a movie that's about those things that they just constantly try to ignore. So I think that, but laugh and have a good time, and it's hopefully a beautiful experience. And they enjoyed themselves, and they think a little bit, and that's really about it. It's lofty in one sense, and at the same time, it's kind of about how we all have this very human experience, and we all have these same questions and doubts and fears, and hopefully, it's done in a simple and beautiful way that is accessible to anybody, and we can talk about those things that we all kind of collectively dread while laughing.
So I'm just going to wrap this up by asking all of you to tell everyone how they can find you. Do you have social media, website? We'll start with Eric.
All right. Most of all our stuff really can be found at etwproductions.com. It takes you to the YouTube page. We got tons there, web series and stuff. We're going to be firing up Exhaust Offenders here pretty soon, so a little plug there. But yeah, we got stuff in the works. Go check etwproductions.com. You'll find everything you want to see. Contact us through there, whatever.
Awesome. How about Isabella?
You can find all my stuff on my website, which is isaarte.squarespace.com. So it's isaarte.squarespace.com. Yeah.
Awesome. Jerry and Mike?
We have a website called lightforgestudios.com. It's Forge, like that word. I didn't mirror a thing, so I don't remember. Anyway, that's our company. It has pretty much every video we've ever made. We have an archive page, which all of our old stuff is on. We've been making movies for a long, long time. We're old.
Our life's work. Visit the website, please.
You can spend a lot of time on our website looking at stuff, and it's got a lot of films and music videos, and then it has commercials and other things too. So it's lightforgestudios.com.
Jason, how about you?
I'm currently migrating my website, which I've been doing for the last 2 years, so that's exciting. But you can find me, Jay Harris Comedy on Twitter, Jason Harris Comedy on Instagram. Also, I got to quickly plug, because I have a movie podcast. It's called Awesome Movie Year. It's me and Josh Bell, local film critic, and each season we tackle a different year why it was an awesome movie year. We're really proud of it. Hope you guys give it a listen and give us some feedback on it.
Awesome. Chris, how about you?
You can find me at chriscranock.com, just my name. And I'm also on social media, on Facebook and Instagram and things like that. I post a lot of my personal stuff on those platforms, but also a lot of my work. Right now, chriscranock.com is just kind of a splash page for Bizarro, but there's also all of my work from about last 10, 12 years. So you can take kind of a look. A lot of my writing work as well is up there. So yeah, just chriscranock.com, and it's kind of the hub for everything.
That's great. Well, thank you all so much for joining us and for submitting to the 17th Annual Damn Short Film Festival.
Thank you.
And make sure to everybody out there to stay tuned in. We have we have 2 more Q&A sessions tonight. At 8, we have horror, and festival co-founder and current director of continuity and board member, and all the hats that he wears. Lee Lanier will be hosting that. And then I will be back for music videos at 9. And then we start again tomorrow. I think it's either at 11 or noon. I don't have that in front of me right now. But we're doing this, the festival lasts through Monday the 15th. And our Q&A sessions go through Sunday. Voting ends at 2 p.m. on Sunday. So make sure to rate all the films in each program. All the Audience Choice Awards are amazing and mean a lot to these filmmakers. So please take the time to watch the films and join us at damnshortfilm.org. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.